Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now today we're reading from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 46. Let's focus on verses 27 and 28. But you, my servant Jacob, do not be afraid, and do not be discouraged, Israel. For without fail I will save you from far away, and your descendants from the land of their captivity. Jacob will return and have calm and quiet, with no one to frighten him. And you, my servant Jacob, do not be afraid. This is the Lord's declaration, for I will be with you. I will bring destruction on all the nations where I have banished you, but I will not bring destruction on you. I will discipline you with justice, and I will by no means leave you unpunished. Now let's refresh our memories on the Jewish people's history after King Solomon's reign. Right? Solomon was succeeded by his son Rehoboam. And after his coronation, the elders of the kingdom assembled, the guys that were the advisors to Solomon, and they asked Rehoboam if he would be hard on the people or whether he would ease off on their labor. And instead of heeding Solomon's former advisors' advice to lighten the people's burdens, Rehoboam sought the advice from his young friends, his homeboys as it were. And they encouraged Rehoboam to increase their burdens. Now, these people are lazy. And at that time, a leader named Jeroboam arose, and he convinced 10 of Israel's 12 tribes to follow him. To entice the people, he built 2 golden calves for them to worship instead of worshiping at the temple in Jerusalem. And this entered an era in Jewish history called the divided kingdom. Henceforth, in Scripture, the Jewish people were split into northern and southern kingdoms. The northern kingdom, aka Israel, was comprised of 10 tribes. The southern kingdom, aka Judah, was comprised of the tribes of Judah and Benjamin, plus a small number of people who had defected from the other 10 tribes to come to Judah and worship God in Jerusalem. So that's the situation. And because the northern kingdom of Israel departed straightway into idolatry, well, their eventual demise came swifter than the southern kingdom of Judah's demise. Assyria defeated Israel, deporting all of its inhabitants to other lands, while filling the northland with foreigners from other nations that Assyria had defeated. Took out the Jews, put in other people to live in that land, partly because you won't fight for a land that's not yours. And at that time, God allowed Assyria to destroy and to defeat only as far as Jerusalem in the kingdom of Judah. God spared Judah because of the faithful prayers of its king Hezekiah. But after Hezekiah's death, the bulk of Judah's kings led the people deeper into idolatry. So God eventually judged Judah as he judged Israel. God will not be mocked. Judah's idolatry was more sophisticated, It developed as worldliness crept into Torah-observant Yahweh worship. They didn't just go after golden calves. They were still worshiping at the temple, but they were becoming more and more worldly. And so eventually God judged Judah as he also had judged Israel through the Assyrian defeat. But this time his tool of rebuke was a nation called Babylon. So today's chapter begins with God's stern declaration to the inhabitants of Judah that because they sought refuge from Babylon in an Egyptian alliance, instead of repenting and seeking God, well, now they'll be destroyed by Babylon in Egypt. But the chapter ends with a kind word to the exiled northern kingdom of Israel. Remember those guys? We kind of forgot about them. Their time of exile would soon end, and they would someday be restored to the land. God rebukes his children, and sometimes very sternly, but in his mercy to his children, well, it's that his rebuke does not last forever. God, judge our nation, but Lord, do so in your mercy. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now, Groundworks Ministries operates entirely through financial donations from faithful people like you. And yes, we do need your monthly support. Donating is secure and it's easy at our website, groundworksministries.com. Now, another way to help is tell people about Groundworks Ministries. Share these podcasts with friends and family and on your social media. And of course, you can always direct folks to our website, groundworksministries.com.